I'm Mark Dresner, and welcome to the Research Insider, a special executive interview series with market research and consumer insights leaders and experts. The Research Insider is brought to you by the Market Research Event 2011, the most comprehensive conference in the world dedicated to elevating the business value of insights. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Lauren Weinberg. She is VP of Strategic Insights and Research at Yahoo. Lauren, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Why don't we get started with a little bit about your background? Can you tell me about your current role and your responsibilities at Yahoo?
Sure. So I head up Yahoo's Strategic Insights and Research team, which is part of our marketing organization. And I think the easiest way to think about my job and what I do is I have a pretty big team, and we focus on providing research and insights starting at the industry level. So what do we know about the audiences that Yahoo cares about, that our advertisers care about? What do we know about the categories? So what do we know about what's happening in the financial space or the automotive space? And then we dig down a little bit deeper into how can we help tell stories for clients like Fidelity and Ford, and what do they need to know so that they can feel that Yahoo is a good fit for them? And then finally, we go all the way down to the campaign level to really help our clients understand how their campaigns perform on Yahoo's media network.
Lauren, how has the organization that you manage evolved since you took charge?
Well, so Yahoo is an organization overall that's constantly evolving, but one of the big things that's changed since I took charge is we used to think about research at Yahoo as the client-specific research, which we called the one-to-one, which meant that if you were working with Yahoo and you needed insights to really prove to you why Yahoo was a good fit for your buy, you would work with one insights team. And then my team that I used to run was the one-to-many team, and those were all the primary research studies, and that was the more industry-level research. And so those used to be two very separate parts of the organization, and now we've blended them together, and the idea is that we want to be able to tell our clients really comprehensive stories using what we know that's really unique from our primary research, still using syndicated tools that are available to us, as well as really taking our fantastic internal data just to weave all of those together and tell really great, compelling stories that help our clients really understand the industry and also why Yahoo will work for them.
Can you give us an idea, more specifically of who your clients and customers are by type?
Sure. So we have a lot of different clients. We have internal and external clients. So our internal clients would be our marketing partners on both the B2B and the B2C side. We work really closely with our marketing solutions team, and they're the team that really puts together very customized programs for our advertising partners. We work very closely with our sales team. And they give us a lot of good insight about what do we need to be saying at the category level. So what do financial advertisers care about, and what's the role that Yahoo will play, and what are the type of insights that are missing that we need to provide? And then externally, we work with agencies, we work with clients directly. Those are really our two main constituents externally.
Okay. And when you're working with external constituents, do you ever work with, for instance, an advertiser's, for example, research department, or are you typically interfacing with other functions in the organization?
We do work with the agency research teams. We actually do a lot of partnerships at Yahoo with their agency teams. So we've done about 5 or so big studies in the last year where we work really closely with the research departments at an agency and go out to market jointly with findings.
Okay. And, no secret to anyone listening, the media landscape has and continues to really change and evolve in a lot of different directions, and fairly radical in some ways. Expectations on the part of your clients, and again, these could be even internal as well, but particularly external, with regard to what a media publishing property like Yahoo should provide in the way of research analytics. Have those changed?
Absolutely. So, I think the biggest thing we see is that everybody just wants more data. And I think there's just an expectation that a company like Yahoo has access to a lot of data, which we do. I think one of the challenging things is that it sometimes can be difficult to access some of that really great internal data. And the trend that we see is that I think that I see the agency spending a lot of time really digging into campaign analytics. And so I think that there's an expectation that Yahoo can really help more with the industry research front, because a lot of the researchers that we speak to tend to be really busy because there's so many metrics that are available, especially in the digital space, looking at all of their campaigns and really trying to understand what works. And they rely on us a little bit more to help give them insights about what's happening with mobile and tablet and video.
When I speak to, people at, for instance, major Fortune class CPGs, for example, and I'll frequently hear people talk about, data overload and deluge and really trying to make sense of it, and your department has the term insights in it. Do you find yourself in the position of ever having to help clients make sense of all of this data that is available?
I think that we definitely try. So, there's so many metrics that are available, and so we do a lot of our own research just to try to figure out what do the different metrics mean. We did a study earlier this year which just said, how do behavioral metrics, can you use behavioral metrics like site visitation and searches as proxies for lift and brand metrics, the metrics that brands are really used to evaluating? Because there are so many metrics, and I think it is hard to make sense of what they mean, and we certainly don't want our clients to default to just using click-through rates, and so we do try to help them really make sense of measurement, and we work really closely with the IAB on that type of initiative as well to really just try to figure out which metrics matter most and help our clients understand that which metrics matter for their objectives.
So it goes back to sort of that storytelling that you referenced earlier.
Yeah.
What keeps you awake at night? What do you believe is the greatest challenge that's facing your group from a functional/service provider perspective, and how are you overcoming it or addressing it?
I honestly think that the metric overload issue keeps me up a lot at night, and I think that just as an industry, there's so much chatter about, do we work on GRPs and how do we tie it to TV and what's the right way to measure online? And I think that, I worry about that. And then more specifically, I think that our industry just moves so quickly that when we're selling big programs, we don't often put measurement in the forefront of that sales process. And so one of the things that definitely keeps me up at night is hearing about amazing programs that are running on Yahoo and not knowing whether or not there's a proper measurement plan in place. And so I've definitely been working very hard with our sales leadership to encourage them that you can sell an amazing program, but if you cannot prove the value of that media, you will not renew. And so it has to be an essential part of the process. And I think just because things move really quickly, it sometimes is an afterthought.
Yeah. How receptive or how far along would you say, if you had to use a Likert scale, for example, on their ability or their willingness or their acculturation, if you will, to metrics at this point?
I think that in theory, they're all 100% there, and I think a lot of times what happens is that there's an assumption that someone else is doing it. So fundamentally, everyone gets it, completely agrees. I just think sometimes there's just a little bit of confusion about, well, who's responsible for that? And yeah, of course we're going to measure it, but if the person that's leading the charge on really putting that program out in front of a client isn't talking about it, then I think we can't assume that somebody else is.
I want to step back. We were sort of touching on the concept of the changing media landscape and properties, media publishing properties like Yahoo changing as well along with that. From a research, analytics, and insight perspective, what kind of skill sets will be in highest demand in your organization, do you think, moving forward? And do you think it's difficult to find or recruit the right talent to meet those needs as you look to the future?
So I think that my answer may be surprising because I think there's a lot of great people that can manipulate data and can understand data. The thing that I really look for is, can the people that understand the data actually tell a story using that data? So that's really important for us because I think that there's just definitely data overload right now, and we don't ever want to deliver to clients just data. We always want to be delivering insights, and I think that the way to make insights come to life for clients, whether they're internal or external, is to tell a good story using the data so that they understand what it means for them. And the second thing is that's really important to me is just a relationship. So people need to be able to have good relationships with the people that they work with, because I think that there's definitely fear sometimes about how to use the data and the research, and you want to work with someone that you trust, and relationships I have found have been one of the keys for whether or not someone will be successful in their role.
Do you have any tips or ways that you shepherd your own team into helping them build those kinds of relationships?
I encourage them to literally think of themselves as an extension of the sales teams that they work with. Mm-hmm. So go to their meetings all the time. Go out to lunch with them. Like, get to know them as people. I want them to call you because they have a question and trust you. And I think it's also, initially, for us just to be a little bit aggressive about, take me on a meeting, let's talk about some research together, and you'll see the kinds of results that you can get. So I think that sometimes once you sort of break through that initial ice, you'll see really good results. But it's sometimes just constantly getting in there, being in front of them, understanding their business, and them just knowing that you're there for them.
So sort of showing them what they're missing in order to, make them an addict, if you will, of what you're providing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You've given us some really great thoughts here to noodle around with regard to Yahoo and the larger media publishing space as we're looking at the research and analytics role move into the world of quote unquote big data. So I want to thank you very much for your time and your thoughts today, Lauren.
You're very welcome.
And for those of us listening, if you're interested in hearing more from Lauren Weinberg, she has delivered a presentation at the Market Research Event 2011 on how U.S. consumers' ethnic identity influences media choice and purchase habits. For information about that presentation, please visit the Market Research Event 2011 website at themarketresearchevent.com. Until next time, this is Mark Dresner, and you've just heard the Insight Scoop.